Management. Also, Cameroon is expected to compete in the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations, scheduled to take place from the 17th of March to the 3rd of April this year, ladies and gentlemen, as it is the 14th edition of the women's football competition, which is going to feature 16 teams from the first time, and it has been expanded from 12 at the previous tournament, ladies and gentlemen. And now the Lionesses who were granted qualification through the back door following the expansion of teams after initially failing to qualify, are drawn into Group D against Mali, Ghana, and newcomers Cabo Verde. Their base will be in the city of Fez. Other than the trophy, ladies and gentlemen, these participating teams will also be battling for qualification tickets to the 2027 FIFA World Cup due to take place in Brazil, automatically reserved for the 4 semi-finalists. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from there, let's go on to the fact that Cameroon is hosting a 7-man delegation from the Democratic Republic of Congo in a working visit, a 3-day working visit in Douala. That is to strengthen cooperation and exchange technical expertise between these two countries. The guests who arrive at, like I said, the 7-man delegation, which is led by the FECOFOOT 7 delegation. That is talking about the Federation of Congo, is led by its president Lorenzo Kinsombe, accompanied by second vice president Patricia Kinsombe Sylvie, and of course the Secretary General Guy Philly and Sa Mputu. Their mission is very clear, ladies and gentlemen, to understudy Cameroon's progress in the fast-growing format, as the country is considered more advanced in structuring and organizing the discipline of the game. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Congolese, that is the vice president of the 7-a-side Football Association in Cameroon, alongside the head of the Legal Affairs Committee, we're talking about Bernard Basson, and other members of the executive team. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us look at what unfolded at that meeting in Douala. Discussions have focused on solely administration. Cameroon has already established functional 7-a-side football bureaus in all 10 regions of the country. The championship has been launched in Yaoundé, Douala, and Ngaoundéré, with rollout plans in the remaining regions scheduled for next month. Meanwhile, preparations are very much intensifying for the disciplines maiden World Cup set to take place later this year in Honduras, while Cameroon will be among the participating nations. And now, the visit highlights a growing collaboration between the two Central African countries as they work to elevate 7-a-side football both regionally and internationally. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I think that is what brings us to the end of news as it concerns local football. And now let's dive on to the scope of the MTN Elite One Championship, where Unisport and Canon closed the match week with a 7-goal thriller match, ladies and gentlemen. This was a thrilling encounter, like I said. And when you look at the number of goals that were scored in this encounter, it has to give you a view that this match was a mad-watching encounter, which took place which took place in Yaoundé. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it should be noted, it is the 5th round. That match was the 5th round of the MTN Elite One Championship, which concluded in a spectacular fashion at the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium Complex in Yaoundé, where Canon de Yaoundé suffered a dramatic 4-3 defeat to Unisport of Honcam in a thrilling 7-goal encounter. That was really a mad-watching encounter, ladies and gentlemen, and we are looking forward to more of those fixtures which are yet to unfold as far as the MTN Elite One is concerned. And still in that game, ladies and gentlemen, we're still talking about the encounter between Canon of Yaoundé. Canon made a strong start and took the lead in the 36th minute through Ako Asomo, whose finish put the Kwakum, as they are locally called, in control and lifted the home supporters. However, the advantage was short-lived, ladies and gentlemen, as Freddie Mbang calmly converted from the penalty spot 5 minutes later to draw Unisport level just before halftime. And now coming back from the break, the second half exploded into life with 5 goals in a remarkable spell of attacking football. Unisport seized the momentum in the 52nd minute when Koloto put the visitors ahead. Jacques Edule extended the lead in the 57th minute, and Achille Fonkem added the 4th in the 64th minute, completing a devastating 12-minute surge that left Canon of Yaoundé on her knees, ladies and gentlemen, as she further fell the pecking order. And to that credit, ladies and gentlemen, the Yaoundé side refused to give in an own goal from Freddy Lobe in the 72nd minute, reduced the deficit and reignited the hopes of a comeback, but Yan Stephanie Mba-Njok then struck 5 minutes later to make it 4-3, setting up a tense and dramatic finale. And now, despite sustained late pressures and a spirited push for an equalizer, Canon could not find a decisive 4th goal, and Unisport held firm to secure a memorable away victory, capping match day 5 with one of the most entertaining fixtures of the season so far, ladies and gentlemen. And now from there, let's go on to talk about the fact that Amadou Ahidjo, we're talking about Cotonsport of Garoua, urges urged past FF Azul to stay unbeaten in the league under their coach Pagu. Ladies and gentlemen, it was an encounter, a thrilling encounter, as the record champions Cotonsport of Garoua continued their strong start to the MTN Elite 1 season with another new victory over FF Azul Elite on match day 5 at the Lumbi Adja Stadium in Garoua, where the decisive moment came shortly after the start when Amadou Ahidjo struck in the 49th minute, converting what proved to be the only goal of the tightly contested encounter. Cotonsport managed the game professionally under thereafter limiting Flavor Azul's attacking threats while protecting their slender advantage. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, since the arrival of head coach David Pagu just before the start of the campaign, Cotonsport have remained unbeaten. That is a clear sign of renewed stability and ambition from a multiple-time champion. Tactical discipline has restored defensive solidity to a side eager to reclaim domestic dominance. Amadou Ahidjo once again proved decisive as the forward has now scored. It should be noted that, ladies and gentlemen, in this interesting team, the name of the team in overall is known as Amadou Ahidjo, and still in that squad we have a player called Amadou Ahidjo, and he proved decisive in that game, and he has scored crucial goals in important fixtures this season, underlining his growing importance in Cotonsport's attacking setup. And now this victory moves Cotonsport to 4th place in the standings with 9 points from 5 matches, keeping them firmly within touching distance of early leaders PWD of Bamenda, who top the table with 12 points. Dinamo of Douala and Gazelle also ahead on 10 points. The title race is very much open and is shaping and is proving to be a competitive contest. Ladies and gentlemen, for the very first time in the MTN Elite 1, for the very first time, like I said, as early as the season is, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to separate the title pretenders from the title contenders. And now let's move on to other parts of talking about still in the MTN Elite 1. Let's move on to Bamenda, where PWD of Bamenda maintained a perfect start to the season as concerns their home form, with a resounding victory over Panther of Ndi. As that match, PWD have extended their impressive run to 4 consecutive victories with a 2-0 triumph over Panther of Ndi in match day 5 of the MTN Elite 1 Championship at home and in no other stadium than the Bamenda Proximity Stadium, Bamenda 1. And the Abakwa boys started brightly and took the lead in the 28th minute through Serge Bengono Manga, who finished calmly to reward the hosts' early dominance. And now PWD controlled a lot of possession for long stretches of the first half, dictating the tempo and frustrating Panthers' attempt to build any sort of momentum in Bamenda Proximity Stadium. And much of that control stemmed from solid midfield display, where they saw an Aliyu Yaya proved instrumental, where the duo combined defensive intelligence with a lot of discipline and tactical distribution. That is breaking up opposition attacks and launching forward moves to keep the visitors on the back foot. Their presence ensured PWD a balance. They maintained a balance between the attack and the defense through the contest. And ladies and gentlemen, the second goal arrived in the 75th minute under dramatic circumstances. Dongwi Fielding saw his penalty saved, but reacted the quickest to convert the rebounds, doubling PWD's advantage and effectively ending Fante's resistance. And now the victory keeps PWD unbeaten at home this season and moves them to the summit of the standings with 12 points from 5 matches, boasting 9 goals scored and 5 conceded. And follow closely behind, we have Panther of the 11 points and slip further behind the early pace setters. And now with a midfield which is powered with a lot of energy that is firing from all cylinders, and confidence growing week by week, PWD of Bamenda are steadily shaping us title contenders from title contenders. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let us look at how the table shapes up ahead of match day 6 of the MTN Elite 1. Ladies and gentlemen, at the top of the table, where we are still in the MTN Elite 1, we are talking about Gazelle topping the table with 6 games. It should be noted that Gazelle and Cotton Sport have both played other teams. That is a Gazelle, Cotton Sport, and Fev Azul alongside Fortuna have all played 1 game ahead of the MTN Elite 1. And now on the third position, the Bamenda-based club, that is a PWD of Bamenda, are currently sitting on 12 points, followed closely by the Littoral region. The club from the Littoral region, we're talking about Dynamo of Douala, who have played 5 games. Like I said, other teams have played 1 game above, and men have played 5 and are looking forward to increasing their points ahead of match day 6, which officially kicks off tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, which officially kicks off on the yesterday. Now let's go on to continue talking about the league, the MTN Elite 1, where Gazelle are topping the league with 6 points. They've won 4 games, drawn 1 and lost 1. They've scored 6 goals and conceded just 3 goals from play since they smashed the 1 of the MTN Elite 1, and that brings them to 10 points in the league. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at the second position. It should be noted that the first 2 teams have played 6 games. Like I said earlier on, Cotton Sport of Garoua, Amadou Ahiju is currently following closely behind Gazelle with 12 points from 6 games. They have won 3 games and drawn 3. They are one of the few teams. They are the only team in the league yet to taste any defeat, ladies and gentlemen, as they are currently sitting on 12 points with a goal difference of +6. They've scored 9 goals and conceded just 3 so far, one of the lowest we've seen in this MTN Elite 1. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's move over to the fourth position, where they've played 5 games, won 3, drawn 1 and lost 1, even though they have scored so many games. That is, they have scored in so many games, scored 11 goals across 5 appearances, with conceding just 6 goals. We're talking about Dynamo of Douala, who are currently sitting on the 4th position. And now the Bafang-based club is sitting, following closely, still with 10 points. What separates both teams is goal difference. And now let's move on to the 6th position, where Panther of Ndi are currently languishing on 7 points, game in hand. where they have with a goal difference of just +1, as they've scored just 4 goals in 5 games and conceded 3 goals, ladies and gentlemen, for the Victoria. That is Victoria United, the Limbe-based club. They've played 5 games and they are currently sitting on 6 points. They have managed to clinch just two victories. With the first victory coming on the opening day of the season against Cotonspor of Garoua in that thrilling fixture in Bamenda, which ended 2-1 in favor of Victoria United, despite a lot of contrasting refereeing decisions, a lot of suspensions, and other disciplinary measures that were taken by Fecafoot to ensure that those who officiated that game, and why not players who took part in that game and portrayed poor discipline, did not go unpunished. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's move over to the 8th position, where Canon of Yaoundé are currently on the 8th position with 5 points with a game in hand. And now Colombe Sportif follows still on 5 points. Aigle Royal and Fortuna are still on 5 points, all level on 5 points, with just goal difference coming between the sides. And now, ladies and gentlemen, on the 10th position, on the 12th position, rather, we have Stade Rennais of Melon, who are currently on 4 points. Should be noted, Fortuna have played their 6 games. They don't have any game in hand. And where Stade Rennais, which is currently on the 12th position, have the chance to move up to 8 points, to 7 points rather, ahead of, if they see that victory, ladies and gentlemen, they are going to move ahead of Stade Rennais, who are currently on 4 points. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Aigle Royal of Mongo are currently on 3 points with a game in hand. And Favor Azul are currently on 3 points, as they are the ones sitting at the bottom of the table. And if it continues that way without any improvement, if they did not score more goals and ensure a lot of defensive discipline while showing a lot of attacking prowess, they are going to be relegated to the MTN Elite 2. And it should be noted, ladies and gentlemen, that whoever tops the league, that is whoever occupies the position of the first position, which is currently occupied by Gazelle, qualification for the CAF Champions League, while those who are in the team that finishes on the 12th position is going to face a relegation. Why not? The bottom 2 are also going to play in a relegation battle playoff between Elite 2 sides and MTN Elite 1 sides. And now, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to another part where we shall be looking at the standings, the fixtures, ladies, which are coming up. Like I said, there are teams that have played 6 games and looking ahead of match day 6 of the MTN Elite 1. We are talking about fixtures which are coming up on the 21st of February at 6 p.m. That is Bafang are going to welcome the Bamenda-based club. We're talking about PWD of Bamenda traveling to the West Region to kick off that match at the Bafang Municipal Stadium at 6 p.m. on the 21st, the very day the mountain race is going to be taking off, ladies and gentlemen. And now the next fixture of the day, which kicks off on Sunday, that is over that weekend of sporting activities, which is going to be thrilling, mostly football, which is going to be contested between Aigle Royal of Mongo and Victoria United, the Limbe-based club. We're talking about Opopo are going to be traveling to the Littoral region to face Aigle Royal of Mongo at 3:30 p.m. On the 22nd, which is Sunday. And now on to the next fixture, which is going to be kicking off. It should be noted that these other games I'm going to mention about, that is 4 games, are going to be played in a goal rush, where 4 games are going to be kicking off simultaneously. And now, like I said, Victoria United are going to be traveling to the Littoral region to face Aigle Royal of Mongo, and while Aigle Royal still are going to be welcoming Stade Rennais. And now the second to the last goal rush fixture of the day, traveling to the Littoral region to face Dynamo of Douala, still at 3:30 p.m. And now the last fixture of the day confirms the presence of Colombe Sportif Colombe Sportif to Panther of Ndi, where it is going to be a thrilling encounter where both sides are going to be hoping to clinch maximum points on that beautiful day, that is the 22nd, which is on Sunday at 3:30 p.m. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are done talking about the MTN Elite 1. We shall be moving on to the MTN Elite 2, where we shall mostly be talking about results and the standings. We shall be talking about the results and the standings. And now, ladies and gentlemen, before we talk about those results, let us look at the fact that Chair Clinton often has dedicated or